Hi, today we're going to go over how to set up the HawkCam Pro Wi-Fi camera. So from Falcon Watch. A couple things to point out real quick. This sticker here may be a little bit obscured, but they're the same stickers on the camera itself. So we'll get started and unbox the camera. So when you unbox the camera itself, take the top packing off. The instructions will either be sitting on top or it might be one more fold stuck down in to the side of the equipment and so forth. The instructions, more than welcome to go through it. If you do go through it, you want to follow the mobile or tablet live view setup, okay? Or the wireless instructions on the front. And then, because this is a Wi-Fi camera, it's not a wired camera. The power cord is just a regular USB cord for most everything. It's an extra long because if you mount the camera on the wall or up high, you'll need to have enough cord to get to a power source. So we will be plugging it in here to the outlet where we have a USB outlet, but there is also in the box there's a power cube that comes with it. So you plug that into any outlet and then plug that into the back of the power cube. Now the camera comes, sometimes the base is assembled, sometimes it's not. But this is the actual base to the camera. And this base, mounting plate, I should call it, comes with mounting hardware. Some screws and some drywall things to put it into drywall. And that way you can mount the camera on the side of a wall, or you can mount it upside down against the ceiling, however you want to mount the plate, or you can just set it right down on top of a desktop or countertop or anything like that. Once that's done, you would insert the base into the mounting plate, make sure that the clips are all there. And so now if you're mounted this way, mounted on the wall, however it goes. The camera itself will come with this protective film over top of the lens so it doesn't get scratched in transit. And you'll notice that there are two different ends to this camera. This end has an SD slot, and the other opposite end has the slot for the USB power cord. You will also notice that on both sides of the camera there's little catches there that are meant to hold it securely into the base. On the back of the camera in the middle is the reset button. If anything goes wrong with the installation of the camera, you can go back to factory default by plugging the camera in, waiting for it to boot, which is 2 minutes, and then press and hold in that reset button until you hear 2 clicks. It's approximately 1.5 to 2 minutes that you would hold, press that in, and then you will hear it click once, and then you'll hear it click again. It is then back at the factory default. Okay, so let's go ahead and assemble it. I like to assemble the camera with the power cord on top. And the reason for that is because if we put it on the bottom, there's not a whole lot of room to get the power cord in and out down here, and if you do a lot of adjusting and so forth, you could damage that. So once you put the camera into the mount, into the base, you'll feel it pop in where it needs to go, and then you just apply pressure on both sides and snap it into the base securely. And now the camera is mounted into the base. Again, if you wanted to mount it on the wall, you can mount it this way, you can mount it this way, you can mount it upside down, and be able to use the camera however it fits best in your installation. So now we will go ahead and plug the camera in. I'm going to take the box and set it over here because we are done with that now. Again, it takes 2 minutes to boot, so we will go ahead and allow it to do that. In the meantime, you will want to open your Apple device and go to the Apple Store. And you'll want to search for P2P Wi-Fi cam. So I'll clear out my search there and go P, the number 2, P, Wi-Fi cam. And the app that you're looking for is this one right here that's actually called P2P Wi-Fi Cam, the number 2 in the Apple Store. And in the Android Play Store, you just want P2P Wi-Fi Cam, no number at the end, just plain app. So we'll go ahead and click on that app and we'll open that up. Now, I've already installed the app on my Apple, but if you were to install it, it would download and then you would just hit the open and it would be a blank screen here. So, a couple things I want to demonstrate on how to set up the camera. Once you've got this downloaded, the first thing you need to do is go back to your settings. And we'll go into the settings and we will go ahead and click on the Wi-Fi. And what you will see is in the Wi-Fi you'll have a Wi-Fi hotspot named IPCam AP, which stands for access point, and then there'll be a string of letters and numbers after that. You want to connect to that. And what that does is allows us to connect our device directly to the camera. As soon as we get done connecting to the camera, double click this action button at the bottom and go back into your app. So now that we're back into the application, what we want to do is hit Add Camera. And as we hit the Add Camera, it's going to come up with this screen here. Now there's a couple of different options. One, we want to probably change the name. I'm going to leave it as the Wi-Fi cam there, but you might want to name where it actually is, whether it's in the office, the conference room, living room, front entry, back entry, things like that. You want to name the camera where it's going to actually appear. And then the camera ID is found on that sticker that I showed you on the box. Right here, there's a QR code that's covered up by the stickers from Amazon, or there's a string of letters and numbers at the very bottom. But again, on the back of the camera is also the QR code and the same sticker with the string of letters and numbers and so forth. If you can't scan the QR code, then you might just want to go ahead and type in the letters and numbers into the camera ID. But we're going to go ahead and scan it. So you hit the scan and it brings up the scanner. And my cover here kind of covers up my back camera, so I got to position it just right. And then we want to put that QR code right in the middle. And as soon as it reads it, it will fill in that string of numbers for you. Now the next step is to put in the default password, which is admin, just like the username above it. So you have admin and admin. And as soon as you're done with that, just hit this button up here that says done, and your camera comes up. And that's all it takes to get the initial setup of the camera done. We could actually go in now and take a look at our camera. We'll go ahead and adjust it and turn it around. We'll point it over here. And as you can see, with the camera being set up, the picture is upside down. So what we'll do is we'll touch the screen and it brings up the controls on the top and the bottom. If you wait a few minutes, they will go ahead and disappear. But while they're here, we want to go ahead and flip the camera from top to bottom. Now, if we take a look, the camera orientation is wrong. It's not right to left, it is left to right. So down here we want to flip it left to right. And now we have the orientation of the camera on the screen the way that it is in the actual room that we're looking at. And you can do any kind of modifications. If the camera was upside down, mounted on the wall, any of those things. If you had it facing one way or facing the other, it might have a difference as to how you want to orient the camera. So now, that's the basic setup. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this screen and go back into the main screen. 2 more steps to get the camera on the internet so that you can monitor it away from the office or away from the home. Because right now, remember, we're still connected directly to the camera. We're not connected to the internet with our Apple or Android. Over on the right hand side here, we want to touch that little eye for the information. And this is the main configuration screen for the camera. So we'll go into the Wi-Fi settings, and what that will do is the camera itself will now start searching for all of the different available networks that it can connect to. We're going to select the one that we want it to connect to, and then we're going to input the password, and I will do that off screen real quick. So once we've typed in our password for that hotspot, we'll hit done. And now, in a second, you'll see that the camera will go offline. And the reason for that is because the camera needs to reboot. And when it reboots, it's going to join the hotspot. In the meantime, we will go ahead and hit our action button at the bottom twice, go back into our settings here, and you'll notice that because the access point no longer is providing the internet or the Wi-Fi connection, it will default back to your default Wi-Fi connection so that you can join your network again. If it doesn't do this, manually force it into the network that you had the camera join. We'll double click again and go back into the application, and we will wait. And now we're online. You will also see my home entry for my personal home has now come up online also. That's going across the internet from the office here to the home and bringing the picture back to my application. And that's the main configuration. Now, one last step that we need to do before we have the basic setup done, and that is to go into the user settings and change your passwords. You can't change the username. You can, but it won't actually take effect. It won't do anything for it. You need to leave that as admin, and this one down here is visitor. But change the password on both of those so that somebody surfing the internet can't just tap into your cameras if you want to keep your video streams private. So we will say done, and we'll come back in. To finish out the configuration, we'll go into the time setting. I always like to pull the time off of my local device here. Oop, I hit the wrong thing there. I want to hit that button there, and it will automatically go back to the previous screen. You want to set up your alarms. When does it alarm? How much sensitivity? Do you want it to be high sensitivity, low sensitivity? And it might take you a couple of days to play around with these to get your camera and your liking and the amount of recording done the way that you like, but this is the screen that you would do that on. I've added these screenshots so that you could pause the video and get more familiar with each screen. When you see a caret to the right of one of these, lines, that means that you can open that up and have more options on the inside. So enjoy the screenshots. FTP is if you have a server in the cloud that you want to store your recordings to, you can set that up here. The mail settings is where you would go in and set up your emails for the alarms, and when the camera does motion detection and sends an alarm, it has the ability to attach a snapshot of the camera when it sends the email, and it also has the ability to connect to your app and give you an alarm within the app saying that there's something going on. And this is where you would configure all that. The last thing is the storage card that comes with the camera. This is where you would go in and set it up. Okay, so now I want to go over the rest of the configuration settings on the monitoring screen. I'm including the snapshot to show you the various different icons along the bottom of the screen. The first one is to take a snapshot of the screen as you see it. The next one is to start and stop recording to the device. The next one is a speaker, which allows you to listen, and then when you click that and have it on, there will be a microphone pop up. Click and hold the microphone to talk into the camera. Contrast and brightness are the next ones. They'll show up on either side, right and left, when you click on those. The next one expands the screen out, and the next one will change the frame rate. Remember that the zoom in and zoom out do not work. This is a fixed lens camera, as well as the tilt and the pan. The final configuration here is the presets, and then finally home entry here and the on-screen displays, and that's it. Remember, we tap here. If you want to take a snapshot of this picture here, hit that button right there and it takes a snapshot, and you'll see that it is a success down here. If you want to take a video of what the camera is seeing right now and manually do it without the motion detect, just touch the camera and you'll see that now it is recording. And it is recording to this device right now. When you're done, go ahead and hit that button again, and it's done recording. The next piece is, down here you'll have a little speaker, and what that does is it picks up the sound within the room, and you can hear it over your iPad or iPhone or Android device. And when you click that button on, you'll also see a little microphone appear in the lower right hand corner of the screen. To talk to the camera, push and hold that microphone down, and you will hear it come across the camera as you just heard. Okay. Then there's contrast and brightness down here at the bottom. Remember, this is a fixed lens camera, so zoom and zoom in and zoom out do not work. It's a fixed lens camera because it's extra wide and it's very high definition. So now we can go ahead and exit out of that camera. Now, when I took that picture and the video, you will see them down here if you click on the pictures, and you'll see which one do you want to go into. And we'll touch on this picture here. There we go. And then you'll see that I'd pushed that button twice, so now I have two different pictures of that. And this is the picture that we were looking at. You can throw that picture in the trash. You can advance to the next one or advance to the last one. Of course, they're the same picture, so you really don't see anything changing. But they're going from one picture to the next. And we'll delete one of them. And that leaves just the other one left. And now there's just the one. And you can see one of one up here. So we'll go back, and we'll go back again. And then we'll go back one more time. And we can go now into videos. And when you go into the videos, you can see what's on the SD card that's on the camera by clicking the remote up here or by doing local. Local is what's on here, remote is what's on your camera. So we'll go back into this one and we'll see that this was the video that we just shot over here, and you'll see the timeline advancing down along the bottom. You'll also see that the clock is incrementing. So we'll hit the back button there, the back button here, and then one more time. And the last thing down here on the bottom is just the info on the version and the app and so forth. So we'll go back into the main screen. If you have any problems with your cameras and not coming up or anything like that, you can always hit the refresh button and it's going to go back out and re-pull all the cameras to make sure that they're online and so forth. Now, the last thing that I want to show is that the other way to monitor multiple cameras is up here in the upper left-hand corner. You see there's 4 squares in a square. And if you click on that, it's going to bring up the monitoring app. Here's the cameras that are defined on the actual device. We can throw the home entry over here. The next one will go in this box. So here's my home entry, and here's the one locally here. And then there, you can't see it anymore, but just tap right there and it'll go ahead and spread those back out. Now to control any of the cameras in your monitoring screen here, just double click on the picture you want to control. And you're familiar now with this screen here as to how we can manipulate and talk to and take a snapshot and so forth. When you're done, hit that X and it will go back to the monitoring app. If you want to get out of the monitoring app, there's 2 ways to do it. You can always hit the double button here and then go anywhere else on your device. Or you can, in that upper right hand corner, click that and hit the exit here. Now, the difference between the Android and the Apple is that when you're in this screen here, there won't be an X in that upper right hand corner there. What you do is when you double tap on the screen, it will actually ask you if you want to go to full screen or if you want to exit the application. So that's the difference between the two. And that's how you set up the HawkCam Pro. Now let me show you real quick the app that comes on the Android. We'll just put this one over here out of the way. It will look the exact same icon. It just says P2P Wi-Fi Cam. And when you click on that, alright, so this is the Android app, and if you notice over to the right hand side, instead of that little eye on the Apple device, you'll see that this has a gear box, and if you click on the gear box, Wi-Fi settings, FTP settings, it's a little different order, but the user settings is where you set your name and your passwords and so forth. The FTP is storage for the files, alarm settings, mail settings, and so forth. So all of it is still the same. You still go back down here along the bottom. You've got cameras, you've got alarms, and alarms tell you when an event has happened on the device. We don't have any alarm logs yet for this device. Pictures is where you'd go in and you'd see the actual pictures that were taken. and then the videos and all about the same thing. You can update your app from here on this one and so forth. So we'll go back into the camera. Back up here on the top, we saw the 4 screens here, and you could put like the Home Depot, the home demo over there, and then we'll put the other one, the one that we just set up here, into this screen. We'll go ahead and close that down. Now, what I was explaining earlier is when you tap on here, it's just one tap. You can either disconnect or you can go to the full screen. The same controls come up now, the flipping top to bottom, side to side, a little bit of different order. You can turn the speaker on and you can hear it through the device. Down here you hold in on the microphone and talk into it. Then we turn that off. The snapshot and video, recording the video, the brightness and so forth, everything is pretty much the same. To exit out, it's that button in the upper left hand corner, and then you're back to here. So that's how you exit out of the Android. Everything else pretty much the same. Notice it's P2P Wi-Fi cam. There's no number at the end. Everything else is pretty much the same. Adding a camera, pretty much the same. The one feature that Android has that the Apple app does not is that when you're connected directly to the actual camera, you can add the camera just by hitting that button right there, and it will find the information and fill it in for you. So that's a nice feature on the Android, but other than that, you can do the scan or you can do a search if you're connected on a local network. And that's it.